That's what makes a difference between girl, woman, boy, man. You're not a boy anymore. You're not a girl anymore. You need to put on your big girl pants and your big boy pants, and you
Listen to this, guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Half a Nice Day podcast with your host, Joshua.
And Janine.
And today we have another amazing guest, as we always do.
Always.
Always. This is how we always introduce people. He's really a great guy, I must say. I met him quite a long time ago. He's a philanthropist, I would say. In that sense, an entrepreneur. He's the founder of an award-winning company, Phronesis.
Phronesis.
Phronesis, yes, I got it all good.
Do you know who came up with the best way to pronounce my company? Do you know Sahar?
Yeah.
Yeah. She said, bro, just break it up. Fro.
Afro.
Me.
Sis.
There you go.
Phronesis.
Yeah.
There we are.
There you go.
We're gonna add the the body parts.
Yes.
Head, shoulder, knees, and toes.
Just so that people understand how it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll put it. What is in this in a subtitle where you actually put like the breakup of spellings? Yeah.
With dashes.
Yeah, the dashes. Yes.
The pronunciation.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pronunciation. He's Jordanian. He's an author as well, which we just found out like a few minutes ago.
Exactly.
So let's give a warm Half a Nice Day welcome to Mo, everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
He's one of the few people who actually reached out to me to be on the podcast, and I love
Oh,
that.
I love that.
Yes.
He called me as a prank call, and I was scared for a
Yes.
second.
Yes.
Did he? I
Yeah.
don't know the story.
I said one of his comedy lines that he hasn't used in a while.
Yeah.
He's like, how do you know me? Like,
Do I have a stalker?
Yeah.
Is this baby reindeer? Am I baby reindeering right now? Do I have a stalker? This is the best.
Martha?
Yeah. And I was like, it's Mo. And he's like, Mo. I'm like, the guy that has an uncontrollable laugh.
And immediately I put two and two together.
Baby reindeer. Martha has an uncontrollable
Yes, she-
laugh. He's Martha. There you go.
I have to ask you something before we start. Were you the guy who loves my dead dad joke?
Crew.
Yeah.
No,
No,
because
it was more of like you woke up to your uncle's,
yeah.
chest.
but it was also like I carry my gym stuff in a plastic bag. I thought that was hilarious. So the first time I saw you do stand up was fall of 2018. So like,
Kickers.
yeah,
Yeah.
end of November
Yeah.
2018.
That's when I just started
Wow.
doing comedy again.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
And then you did a killer. You had a roast battle with Ty.
Yeah.
And you did a killer line,
Right.
man. 'Cause, like, I love Ty. Like, so I grew up with a lot of people.
Shout out to Ty.
Yeah, really. Honestly, I grew up with a lot of people from Texas. So when I knew he was from Houston, I was like, oh, H-Town. But when the line you said,
The Wakanda one?
yeah, that was.
That's when I realized
Yeah.
roast battles are the best. And everyone was such a good sport, and I really, really loved it. Because I've done roast battles where at the end they're like, why is everyone so mean to each other? But that's because no one did a set before the roast battle. So people just think, okay, these guys come on and start insulting each other. So they don't know that we're actually super
But-
tight, we're friends.
But man, you killed it with the Irish dude. You know what I'm
Oh, yeah. And I've never seen him since, dude. Never
Yeah.
seen him since.
Yeah. I mean,
Connor was his name, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
But I
do you wanna know why?
yeah, you
Can
can say.
we not include
Yeah,
that?
we'll say it.
He was.
Yeah.
So you guys go way back.
We go
I guess
way
so,
back,
man.
Yeah.
So I first met him at Kickers, I remember, and Abs comes up to me. This is when I was finding my confidence and he's like, dude, and he introduced me to him, and then he told me, dude, that opening joke you had of like my dad's.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's one of the funniest lines I ever heard, and it helped me a lot, because so I did comedy first in early 2018, and I bombed my first set, and I'm like, this is not for me.
Mm.
Then Ima kept pushing me. She's like, there's another Filipino here. Let me groom him.
Yeah.
And then I started, I'm like, okay, let me try it again, like maybe after 6 months. And I started getting a little bit more confident. And then when Abs introduced me to you and he said that line, it really came back to me in a way where it's like, oh, crap, I can do this, and I might have something. And it was really good. For
I'm
me.
glad,
So
man.
thanks for that,
yeah,
man.
for sure.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of compliments these days.
I'm
so.
glad that Abs didn't introduce you as a CIA. Like he always says, "This is my CIA agent, Mohammed." Like, I'm like, man, you need to stop doing that.
Man, he also introduces every guy as his cousin.
Yeah,
Like, how many
yeah,
cousins do you have?
yeah.
But are you guys cousins or not?
No. But did he tell you the don't stop resisting story? Did
No.
Abs tell you this?
No.
Oh, you don't know this?
No.
We'll bring it up later.
Okay,
maybe.
okay.
Let's
Yeah,
talk
let's
about
get
it.
into your background a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Since everyone might be confused, like, why is this Jordanian Jesus having this American accent?
That's
so
true.
let's start with that. So you're definitely, I mean, not definitely, but you're like I would consider a third culture kid. You were not. Were you born
the
in?
epitome of, man?
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
The epitome of. So, yeah, and I was so happy to figure out what third cultural kids were when I took an anthropology class. Because I was like, I think I found my tribe, you know? So, yeah, I grew up in Saudi Arabia.
Were you born there or just?
I was born there.
Okay.
Wow.
It's funny because on my birth certificate, it says place of birth. It says Aramco Healthcare Center, which I honestly take so much pride in.
It
honestly.
really says that?
Wallah, I swear to God.
That's
It doesn't
so
even say like.
specific.
Was it
doesn't say-
Riyadh or Jeddah?
No, it's so there's more than one Aramco compound, and there's a reason for that. But the biggest one is called Al-Dhahran in Arabic, or in English people pronounce it as Dahran.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I was born there because my dad was working there. But that for me, wherever I go, is considered home. Like it's a very special place for me and to me, honestly. So yeah, my dad was an orthopedic surgeon for Aramco.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So how my dad went to Saudi was there's like a very tedious high schooling educational curriculum in Jordan called Tawjihi, which is very equivalent to IGCSE's
Oh yeah. Okay.
stars. I'm not sure if he was the top performer in the kingdom, but he was one of the top. And at that time, Aramco needed doctors. So they were only recruiting American board doctors and Jordanian board doctors.
Wow.
Because the healthcare system in Jordan is quite good.
Still is.
It's, I mean, it can be better, but it's getting there, I think. So my dad was like, great. I think, but in the beginning, so my grandfather used to be the superintendent of all UNRWA schools in Jordan. UNRWA is a UN body that's specific to Palestinian refugees.
Perfect. Okay.
It's called UNRWA.
Yeah.
So like I come from a big education like family. Like even my dad's aunts studied abroad, which is like unheard of for Arab families.
Back in
Like,
the days
yeah,
as
my
well.
dad-
Yeah.
So so like when my dad got the call from Aramco, I think my grandfather told me like he didn't want to do medicine, even though it was a sick deal. Like they would give you like a monthly salary and they pay for your education, then you have like a job waiting for you. And then I think like my dad was in a dilemma because he wanted to do engineering,
Okay.
but like as Ab says, DLE, which is doctor, lawyer, engineer, he took that Arab
The
route.
three routes.
Yeah. So he went to University of Jordan. I think he was amongst his top class as well.
Even with him not wanting it,
Yeah.
he was like on top of his class. Wow.
And and he got his board, like his specialization, through the military hospital in Jordan.
Okay.
So he did some service in our armed forces, and then he went to Saudi. This is like late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but when my dad went there, like the complication of visas and stuff, it took my mom and brother and little sister like a whole year to get to Saudi Arabia. At that point, my dad was stationed in a town in the middle of nowhere. Maybe some Saudis don't even know. It's called Al-Udayliyah, which is like it has a really big refinery there. So
Okay.
you guys know the story of Aramco? It's actually pretty cool.
No.
No.
But can you bring the mic, sorry, a little bit closer to your left? Yeah, pull it. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people think that because Saudi's big on oil production,
Yeah.
that they were the first to do oil discovery and everything, but it was actually the Kingdom of Bahrain. They're the first to discover oil. And then that kind of created a domino effect in the Gulf.
Okay.
And
Like
they
if
were
they
like,
have it, we should be having it.
exactly, let's do oil exploration. The Saudis were not looking for oil. When they found the Mam well number 7, which is like one of their first wells, they were actually looking for water. But they did have a top oil explorer from what's that university called? I think it's Princeton or Stanford. I don't remember.
Okay, one of the Ivy Leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, his name was Mike Steinicke. And there's like a hotel in Aramco that's named after him.
Oh,
Wow.
And we kind of learned about him. Like, dude, all he had was like protractors and it was crazy.
One ruler.
Yeah. Like, oh, I think there is oil here, John, you know?
Our grade 4 pencil kit, you know?
So they found oil in Saudi. And obviously the Saudis did not have the means to take it out. And that was the birth of Aramco.
Okay.
The birth of very strong relations between the United States and Saudi Arabia. It was actually created on a U.S. warship in the Red Sea.
Oh, okay.
When the founder of Saudi Arabia, his name is King Abdulaziz, was on a U.S. warship with Harry Truman.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I think that's where they became homeboys and they, you know, had a good deal. And that time, Saudi Arabia was offering free oil to the Allied forces in World War II. It's a long history between Saudi and the United States, man. So the U.S. was like, this is a great opportunity. So all of the big oil companies like Standard Oil of California took the biggest piece of the pie because it was owned by the Rockefellers, of course. And Mobil One, Texaco, all of those guys, they came to Saudi Arabia and co-signed with the Saudi government. So Aramco stands for Arabian American Oil Company.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay,
the
I know what you
Saudis were pretty smart because in that contract, they said that eventually we will take ownership of, we will nationalize our oil company.
Okay.
So if you have a bunch of Americans coming in from Bakersfield, California, and Texas or Colorado, the Saudi government said, we want to create a community for Americans so they can feel like they're at home.
Right.
If you look at how Aramco is, it's like
a gated community, right?
they took a suburb in America,
Right. I've heard.
put it
this.
on a plane, and imported it in Saudi.
as
Like,
is, right? Like,
Cool.
it's so American, man. Like sometimes it's more American than America, honestly.
so these are the compounds where like they have, like, dare I say, like bars, clubs. They have everything.
I wouldn't
there,
say
right?
bars and clubs, but Saudi law was not congruent in the compound.
Correct. Yes.
So for example, my mom always drove me to school before it was legal for women to drive in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because they have an office. And one of my dad's friends, I think until now he's the head of government affairs. There's an office that liaisons between Aramco and the Saudi government.
Right.
So like let's say, which this happened like once in a millennia, like let's say there's a crime or something happened in the compound, you have a choice to contact the Saudi police or Aramco security. And they're equipped with their own investigative team, own detectives, own firefighters, and all U.S. trained.
So you have their
Right.
like their own authority,
Yeah.
sort of.
Okay.
That's so
But we also had our own schooling system as well.
Okay. So it's like a country within a country, basically.
Absolutely, 100%. So there's 4 compounds. There's Al-Dhahran, and then there's Abqaiq, there's Udaliya, and then there's Ras Tanura. Ras Tanura is beautiful, man. It's like California.
No
it's like
way.
an Aramco compound on the East Coast. And there's like a huge refinery there. But yeah, like they built compounds close to huge refinery or exploration places, basically.
Okay.
So you grew up with a lot of Americans then?
We were a minority.
Okay.
So 98% of people I grew up were from the United States.
Okay.
All my teachers were from the United States. And I still remember all of them. Like from KG, it ends at ninth grade.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I'm good, right?
Yeah. It just cut for a second.
It ends at ninth grade because there's a culture where Aramco kids go to boarding schools all around the world.
Yeah.
But I remember that part of my life was so impactful. I still remember all of my teachers. I can mention to you all of my teachers' names from KG till ninth grade.
That's so cool.
Honestly, yeah. But I would say, so there's a subculture of third cultural kids.
Mm-hmm.
The Aramco subculture is called Aramco brats.
Okay.
But that was taken from the U.S. Armed Forces kids that grew up in military bases around the world.
Right, the ones who travel every 6
Navy
months.
brats,
Yeah.
Marines, Army
Yeah.
brats. Yeah.
So
Which is funny because I went to a U.S. Department of Defense school in high school.
So fascinated by this whole Aramco thing.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to explain to people.
Yeah.
Because
If
they're
they
like,
haven't
why are you
lived-
so American if you grew up in Saudi Arabia? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, man,
Yeah.
now I have to explain. You know, I'm like,
yeah, it's like, no, you can just direct them to episode 87 of Half
Yeah.
an Actually podcast. If you have all these questions.
oh, my God.
No, but it's
Finally.
it's really cool because, you know, like what you just said, you're in the Middle East, you're in an oil compound, basically.
Mhm.
You're Jordanian, grew up with Americans, you speak like this. So everyone
in
must
Saudi.
in Saudi Arabia, yeah, exactly. So everyone must be like, what is going on here? And, like,
Yeah.
and a lot of people wouldn't know, you know, they think, because we speak about this a lot on the podcast, where like when people, especially back in the day when Westerners would meet us for the first time, like in a different country, they're like, oh, so do you take a camel to work, or do you take a, you know, like they still have
Dude.
this old school mentality.
Dude, you know what a pen pal is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a pen pal when I was a kid, and that guy had some questions, bro.
Oh, really?
Is he
Yeah.
from America?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they really
You have
like
a name for your camel? Like, you know, yeah.
Yeah, Ferrari.
Yeah, right? Mercedes.
Yeah, but even until now, okay, maybe less, but I've met a couple of people like 5, 6, 7 years ago from different parts of the world. And when I tell them I lived in Dubai my entire life, they're like, oh, how is it in Dubai? Do you have to wear, do you have to cover your hair? Does your dad allow you to get out of the house?
Yeah, are you underpaid? Do you
you-
even can
Are you
even
allowed
work?
to drive? And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You
People
know,
are so behind.
You know, in a part of my life, I used to say, I don't blame these people, maybe because I was younger. But now, if you have access to everything on here,
Exactly.
I'm sorry, like I feel like some people want to keep that thought in their mind because they want to feel like they have a form of supremacy over you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they're
And they don't,
quote unquote better than you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they don't like that
Yeah.
there are parts in this world that are doing better than them,
Yeah.
you know?
I agree.
Like today I was in the gym and I was in the
You have your plastic bag.
I was in the plastic bag just wearing the shirt that I won from a marathon.
Yeah.
No, but then there were these guys in the jacuzzi and they're all speaking, oh man, I would never go back to, London, and this is the mecca of the, like I can make all my money here, my crypto is doing very well, my real estate stuff. So like once they see, like, in a way, like what is the real potential that they can actually accomplish here in the Middle East, it really changes their lives. And now it's getting very, very crowded though in the UAE.
Yeah.
There's a lot of traffic and everything, but at least the world is opening up to know, like, okay, the Middle East is one of the forerunners when it comes to like a lot of things in the world right now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we're doing quite well, I have to say.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, doing well, Saudi has been booming lately.
Absolutely.
I don't know if have you visited again lately?
Do you still have
has
family there, or?
So my dad's uncle is a Saudi citizen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So after Corona, I haven't traveled much, to be honest. That's why I'm just like doing this whole new travel thing. Yeah, but I have been there during the boom for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, it definitely is booming.
Yeah.
In like a very fast-paced way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has it changed for you from, I mean, you grew up there. So when you visited again, are you like,
It's hard for me to judge, honestly, because most of my time was in Aramco.
right?
And going outside was not all the time, you know? So I wasn't really connected to outside of Aramco a lot. But still, I wouldn't say like I was blind to it or I didn't know anything, you know? But definitely a lot of things changed, like infrastructure, driving habits, like
Rules and everything.
before driving in Saudi was quite challenging, but now it's a lot more like serious. I would also say like more competition in the market.
Yeah.
Before it was, but that's what I like about it, honestly. And even when I travel, I don't like to go to chains. Like I want to go to homegrown stuff. You know what I
Some
mean?
local
Yeah.
places.
And usually those are better.
So I'll bake and everything.
Yeah, I'll bake is a different story. Yeah, yeah, but no, Saudi, like, so remember how I told you about my white paper
Yeah.
with Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government? So, when I was doing my master's at Halt, I had a one of our professors is a Harvard professor, and he rotates with Halt. His name is Mark Esposito, and this guy is probably the most intellectual and intelligent person I have ever met in my entire life.
Ouch. Ouch. Thought I was gonna be it. Okay, but onward.
He's something else, man. And I wanted to challenge him because at that time it was like 2017. You know, there was that first push of 2030, and so I kind of knew what like the Saudis were heading into. So I had to write an economic strategy journal about I chose to write about Saudi Arabia, and the title of my thesis or my paper was how the decreasing prices in Saudi Arabia will positively impact the Saudi economy.
Okay.
And Mark, I mean, I can call him Mark because I'm really like tight with him. And so Mark was like, I don't know how you're going to do this, but if you somehow prove this, like I will be impressed. So I was like, okay. And at that time I told you like 2030 was starting at that point, and they already have a structured plan on how they will move from oil dependency, because their oil dependency is 75% of the Saudi GDP.
Okay.
So there, and it's not just people think like right now in Saudi it's just about like F&B and entertainment. It's not. It goes into like military hardware, R&D, logistics, green energy.
Yeah.
So Aramco removed its title as an oil company. It's an energy company now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I talked about 2030 and how that will change everything. And at that time, I don't know if you guys remember this, the barrel of oil, the BOPD was like $25.
Yeah.
And I think that was like their calling to be like, okay, we need to start with this 2030 plan. And I talked about the different things that they're doing, the emergence of PIF, investing in different economic attributes. He was quite impressed, you know. And so Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government is basically, Sheikh Mohammed wanted a university that focuses on public policy.
Mm-hmm.
So they reached out to Kennedy School of Government, which is the Harvard School for IR.
Mm-hmm.
And they imported it, let's say, in Dubai, and they made MBRSG. So it's mostly Harvard professors.
Okay.
Nice.
And and then Mark, the more Mark got known here, the more he would be like, hey, can you come and lecture my Masters of Public Policy?
Okay.
Or
Was in demand.
about Saudi economy and this stuff. And I'm like, of course, yeah. So, yeah, so like I like doing those lectures and everything, like people got to, I feel like because there were some expats and people like firsthand got to see like statistics and things about, which led me to publish the white paper about automation in the UAE workforce, because we started working with MBRSG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did that lead to you finding your company and being an owner and everything? Was it something that you always wanted to do? Did you have a day job before that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, honestly, like both of my families are polar opposites.
Okay.
Like my mom and my dad's family. My dad's family are the DLE, you know, like the doctor, lawyer, engineer, or whatever. My mom's part of the family. They're very entrepreneurial.
Okay.
What a good mix.
A little bit, yeah.
It's like the best of the best.
Yeah.
You can choose either path and you'll still be okay.
So like I used to, you know, like, yeah. So I used to like always. So like my uncles were entrepreneurs as well, and like even my grandma. So unfortunately, my grandfather, which is my mom's father, he passed away when my grandmother was young. I think she was like early 30s. She had 7 kids.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's a full life at 30, man.
Yeah. But you know, her brothers, which are my, I know this is really weird, but I'm really tight with my family like that. So I know my mom's uncles.
Okay.
Right.
Like I hang out with them.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. So my mom's uncles saw that, you know, because my uncles were young at that point. I think my mom was like 8 when that happened. Because my mom's from, actually, it's a dominantly Catholic town in Jordan. It's called Madaba.
Okay.
That's where like the what is it called? The memorial site for Moses.
Oh, okay.
And it's like this beautiful church on a hilltop. It's called Mount Nebo. Bro, the churches there are insane.
Wow.
Like there's mosaics there from 600 AD.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's so beautiful. And they have Orthodox and Catholic churches there. There's the shrine of Saint John the Baptist.
Okay.
That's there. It's, man, the history there is insane. And then I saw these pictures in that church. I'm like, yo, these pictures could end racism, man, because you had like Arab guys in a thobe and like ghutra gal, and they had like a huge cross. I was like, these are like the first Arab rappers, you know, like. Or you had Bedouin women wearing Bedouin attire with a cross.
Oh man, that can definitely end racism.
You know, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so that like idea of Islam was spread by the sword, and it's like, why would this small community still exist then?
Right.
I think in this part of the world, we were quite tolerant of each other.
Yeah.
Maybe in other parts of the world.
Exactly, you know.
Not really,
you know. I truly believe that as well, yes.
So, my mom's uncles. So yeah, and Madaba is a very like there's a lot of farming there.
Okay.
And so what they did for my grandma was they would produce fruits and vegetables, and they had like 3-4 trucks, and they would send it to the Gulf. And that's what sustained my grandma from raising my uncles and my aunt and my mom. Yeah. So
Fresh
yeah,
produce.
that was the entrepreneurial side. So even like when I was young, one of my childhood friends, his name is Hector. He's American of Greek origin. He lives in Colorado now, but he's from Chicago. And what I used to tell him was like, man, like, let's like save up our allowance until the end of the year. Excuse me. And whatever money we make at the end of the year, like here's $200, let's say me and him, you know, buy this much candy from the US. So it'd be like Slim Jims, Butterfingers.
Yeah, I know.
Pixie Sticks.
Yeah.
Jolly Ranchers. And that in the US is so cheap.
Yeah.
So we would bring that, and then we had like our candy shop. and then we would sell it to kids in school.
Look at these hustlers.
And in high school, I was just trading
This was
Pokemon
not-
cards
This
and
was not high
everything. man.
school. This was middle school.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was still
Wow.
learning how to walk, man.
He already had that hustler mentality.
And then but I feel like I always had this, you
Okay.
know. Entrepreneurial side was always there. I was always, bro, I didn't know what I wanted to do, honestly. Like do you know how many colleges I applied to? 64.
Wow.
I didn't know where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. I never knew, man. Like, bro, I applied to like medical school in India. And like I was also like a candidate at Sandhurst Military Academy in the UK.
Okay.
Like, bro, I had like there was an opportunity for me to go there. It's not like they called me and they said come, because that is like a very hard thing to get into, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, and then even when I went to college, I was undeclared.
Okay, so you were just doing the
Like I
foundational
went
stuff.
to like different classes. I had no idea, and it was such a coming to Dubai was a cultural shock for me, because I was in a disciplined military environment. You know,
What age did you come to Dubai at?
2009, I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah, I came from a very disciplined environment, man. Like lights out, 10:30, 5 p.m. dinner, 6 p.m. study prep. 6:15 study time. Keep your door open. You cannot ask. I remember I finished my homework because I was still new there, and I went to one of the dorm parents. I'm like, "Oh, I'm done, so I'm gonna go to the gym." And she's like, "No, you're not." She's like, "Do you have A's in all your classes?" And I'm like, "School just started a week ago, you know." Like, I'm like, "No." She's like, "Then you need to go back and study, son." Like, you know, it was a very disciplined environment. And then I come to like Dubai, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember asking the housing manager, Raya Al-Barazi, God bless her. She's a great person, man. I was like, when is lights out? Because, bro, we had to turn off our lights. And like that depends on the timing. The grade depends on when you can turn off your lights. So I'm like, do
So
you
the
guys...
older you get, the later you can
Yeah.
stay up.
I'm like, do you guys have lights out? She's like, I don't even know what that is. Like, you know?
If you
I'm
come to Dubai, like my meeting's at 10, but I can come by 2. It's fine. Like, like
You can keep your lights on? Bro, imagine living for 3 years and the light switch is controlled for you.
yeah.
You really start to like have gratitude when you can turn on and turn off
Yeah.
your lights, you know?
For lights.
That Mr. Bean thing, yeah. I don't know if you've seen that episode when he just like plays with the lights. or
Yeah.
something. Yes, yeah.
So when I came, I was like kind of, but it was a cultural shock for me because it was not a dominantly American environment.
Right.
And when people ask like, oh, why do you sound like, so a lot of people thought I was a study abroad,
Okay.
you know, or an exchange student.
Like a whitewash.
Yeah, you know, or a lot of people were like, I don't know, man. Like, to be honest, like, I didn't feel very welcomed amongst the Arab students.
Okay.
Really?
And yeah, because it's like, why are you acting like that? I'm not acting like this. This is how I speak.
Wait, so this is at AUD?
AUD.
Okay.
Why are you acting like this? Oh, this guy's trying to be cool. Oh, this guy, you know what I mean? And
I
like,
listen to too much like
yeah.
Biggie Smalls, Tupac kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know, and then I like started like going into different classes. I walked into a class. His name was Dr. Muhammad Abu Ali, Arab American professor, and it was Introduction to Microeconomics.
Mm.
And I'm like, whoa, bro, it was like so mind opening for me because I'm like, once you learn, if you take economics, you learn how the world works. Because also there's a lot of psychology in economics.
100% agree, yes.
Like one of the principles of economics is consumers make irrational choices.
And fear. And
so
fear
yeah,
as well,
consumers don't make rational choices, you know. I took econ, fell in love with it. And then I took a minor in social sciences. So I took like philosophy,
So
anthropology.
you put 2 and 2 together.
And I did a minor in political science.
Okay.
Which was very interesting. So yeah, but you know, being there, I was like, it's like I had to prove my Jordanianness, you know, or whatever you call it. So I saw there's no Jordanian cultural club there. I was like, I'm gonna start one. I didn't have like any members at you know.
Like, is this where he signed up to be Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
No, man. This
But
is
see, you know what I didn't like what other cultural clubs were doing? It's like, this is, let's say, for example, this is the Filipino Cultural Club, and it would all be Filipinos.
right.
And I didn't like that because I'm like, okay, maybe if I have officers that are from Jordan that could assist me and whatever, fine. But the whole point is for you to teach people about your culture.
Right.
So I don't want my members to be Jordanian only, you know? And bro, people were so against that because I had people from like China and Sudan and Algeria and like, you know what I mean? Which was so
Heard of.
unheard of, you know?
I mean, it's there for like a lot of culture. So if you like at a Korean club, of course there'll be like tons of people because everyone's so obsessed with the Korean culture right now. You know, like K-pop, K-drama, Korean food, Japanese as well, like the whole anime,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But everyone's like, Jordan, what's so special about
Yeah.
Jordan? You're like, what does it contribute to the world? But when you have a lot of people who are interested in your culture and they can be speaking on behalf
Sure.
of it, then it gets so beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you meet an Indian who knows like Filipino, who like knows about the culture, all their nuances
Or like
and
Ahmed.
everything.
Have you met Ahmed
yeah,
from
yeah,
Al-Ain?
yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like
But also, as you said, like, I think here in Dubai, people are used to sticking to their roots. So you have, as you said, Jordanian club should only be Jordanians.
Yeah.
The Filipino club should only be Filipinos. And if people see people crossing over, they're like, that's a little bit different. It's outside of
That-
what you're used to.
But that was
Yeah.
foreign to me. Because even with all the Americans that I grew up with, some of them were of Hispanic heritage or African Americans or Malaysian American or whatever, you know? So
Right.
it was very mixed,
Yeah.
you know? So I never had like, I don't know, like a pre-bias or something, you know? It was always like, oh, okay, cool. Like this guy's from here. Cool, you know? But it was very like cliquey,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very cliquey, but whatever. I finished my education there. It was, well, it is what it was, Yani. And I really wanted to go into oil economics.
So you majored in economics.
My major was economics. Yeah, my minors were social science, political science, and then I worked for this. So then I went back to Saudi, and I worked for this Saudi dude that had a holding company. And his holding company had an oil and gas company. Our main client was Aramco. But this guy was cool, man. Like, he studied in the U.S. He's one of the first batch of Saudi students that went to the U.S.
Okay. Now it's a lot, by the way. Now it's a lot.
It's less now. Before it was a lot.
Okay.
Before there was like 300,000 Saudi students in America.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And, yeah, man, like, he kind of taught me my business acumen, which was great because, like, him spending time in the U.S. and understanding learning how business works there and stuff, I connected with him, and he was like, bring your office in my area, and just, I want you to learn everything. So that's sort of where, like, it was my first hands-on, like, actual work experience. And then I wanted to pursue my master's. I was supposed to go to Costa Rica. They have a United Nations University for Peace there.
Wow.
It's so cool, dude. Like, whoever came up with the idea was either like a huge hippie or they were like on psychedelics. Because the campus is on a mountaintop in the hills of San Jose.
Wow.
It's so beautiful. And the core study of peace is world peace. So like international human rights or international conflict and resolution. Like that was right up my alley, you know?
Yeah.
But I got into a serious basketball injury the day before flying to San Jose, and I couldn't go. Like I tore my Achilles in basketball. So I did
Great timing.
Yeah. And the funny thing is my dad was like, don't go because you're traveling tomorrow. And I thought he
Very
was,
dad-like.
I'm like, he's just being an Arab dad,
Yeah.
you know? And it was funny because the ambulance took me to the hospital and my dad was on call that day. So I woke up and my dad's like,
What did
What
I
did I tell
you?
yeah, basically, you know? So then
Does your dad operate on you for your ACL? Okay.
No, it's
Okay.
actually not allowed.
Ah, okay.
Or it's not. So it differs from country to country.
Right.
But it's not recommended
Okay.
for a doctor to have a patient that is like a close relative.
Blood relative. Okay.
Because it can get emotional, you
Yes.
know?
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like, nurse, tap my
Wake up,
eyes.
damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still not yet done with your math.
So masters at UPs didn't happen.
So I went to Halt International Business School.
The one here?
Man, yeah, that's a place to actually study.
Man, I've actually wanted to apply at Halt, but when I saw the course fees, I'm like, this is a lot.
It's very expensive.
But it's one of the best. It is the best business school in the world, master degree wise. I think
No.
maybe the region, maybe.
I wouldn't say the region either,
Okay.
but it's up there. I
Yeah.
think right now their MBA is ranked number 13.
Okay.
Look, with Halt, I have my thing with Halt, but like I will be fair. Halt, management wise, not the best.
Okay.
Which is quite ironic because they're a business school that teaches how management should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like fix your house before you.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, the type of instructors and the type of students that they recruit in their university, that's what makes it, you know, like
Best of the best kind of stuff.
their professors.
Top of their field.
I hated accounting. I hated it. It's such a dry subject. Our accounting professor, his name is and like their work history is crazy as well. His name is Dr. Mufid Al-Rawashte.
Your memory is so good.
I was just gonna say, like,
Yeah.
with names, I'm the worst. But you can, like,
It's
you
a
know,
curse
everyone's
and a
first
blessing.
name and last name. Yeah.
Not just names, man. Like it's a curse and a blessing that I remember a lot of things. Yeah. He made accounting fun.
Okay.
How can you make accounting fun?
Yeah.
You know? So it's like you need to have like for teaching, it's kind of like becoming a doctor. You have to devote your life to this thing,
Yes.
man. Like, you know, especially teaching, like you're raising future generations, you know,
Be
like
passionate about it.
100%. So that was like the first time where I felt like after Aramco school, which to me was where I learned the most, where I had an educational institution that was empowering me because they have like core values, like a growth mindset and like these things, you know, and I was like, wow, like I have potential, you know? So that was a great experience. I got to meet people from all over the world.
Yeah.
Why am I wheezing? Okay.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I'll mute that part.
Then I went into the consulting space, and after the consulting space, I worked for Halt.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so I left Halt because I was supposed to go to Parthenon, which is the strategy arm of EY.
Okay.
But then COVID happened.
Oh.
And when COVID happened, it was tough for me, man, because I'm the type that's like always out.
Right.
You're an extrovert?
I would, yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like in my house. I'm like, I don't have a job. Like, what do I do? What's going to happen to my visa? How am I going to, it was crazy. And I didn't want to like bring my family into it, you know, which I think was a mistake.
Right.
Okay.
I should have told them.
Yeah, when
know?
you need to help, it's tough for some people to ask for help as well. So
No, the thing is, man, like, because I went to boarding school at such a young age, I was always used to doing,
being by yourself,
yeah, you know?
staying in
Being
your lane.
independent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Let me put on my MBA thinking hat. And let me see, like, if I can do something. Phronesis was an idea from 2016.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, let me do this. Let me do that. And that was like the first time where I'm like, wow, my education is actually benefiting me, you know?
It's being applied.
Yeah. And then it was so scary because I'm like, am I really doing this, man? Like, you know? So I took it step by step. First step is come up with my business model, core values of the organization.
Mission, vision.
Yeah. I started doing some searching. the core value of Phronesis is we believe the best type of education is hands-on education.
Okay.
The world's changing. Nobody wants to sit down and listen to theory. Like, you need to get your hands dirty, you know?
True.
What we provide as a service is very rare for international students and even for American students in the United States, which is hands-on clinical training
Okay.
and hospital training as well. So I wanted to, and you know, the Greeks have a cultural symbolism and representation in modern education. That's why a lot of universities have Greek columns in their, you know.
The
Okay,
laurel
okay.
leaves.
So I started doing my research and I came across Phronesis. It's a type of philosophy that means practical virtue, which means like it's like education through hands-on. So I'm like, this is perfect. Then I'm like, okay, I came with the name. Now let me do like the logo. And then I cannot draw to say, like, forget it, you know? But I had something in mind. I contacted a freelancer. I got the logo done. And then next step was website. And then khalas, when I started moving it step by step, I'm like, okay, now I want to do my like commercial license. I had already worked for a incorporation consultancy.
Okay.
So I know like the loopholes and in and outs of opening a company and how cheap it could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Just to get it registered.
like if you have like your company name as an Arabic name, you don't have. Sorry, if your company name is English, you have to pay an additional charge for that. If you put an Arabic name, you're saving like $1,000.
Oh wow. Okay.
I know these small things.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Thanks to your consultancy background.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I opened up Phronesis June 6, 2020.
Oh,
Wow.
like few months. That's within the lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was easing up a
Yeah.
little bit, but
Shway.
there was curfews,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
masks.
June 6,
Yeah.
2020.
Okay.
Yo, this is crazy.
Yo, that's yesterday, 2 days
Oh,
ago.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Happy anniversary.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, so I opened up Phronesis. Man, first year we had like 3 or 4 students.
Wait, so how would you
That first year.
how would you pitch
2020.
what your company does in like a sentence or two? What is
We provide
of it?
hands-on academic elective training for medical students and graduates.
okay?
So let me explain to you the focal point of all of this. You know, when you go to the hospital and you visit a specialist,
Yes.
if you look at their
Credentials.
credentials, it would say like American board doctor or
Yes.
German
Yes.
board doctor, right? The American board for many years has been the most competitive. It's very difficult to achieve an American board specialization. It's also the most rewarding. And
Okay.
if you go to a lot of places around the world, it's easy to practice medicine with an American board.
Okay. It's
You
like it's like a open door sort of thing.
Like a
Like
Michelin star for doctors.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the best way to
Yeah.
put it,
wow.
actually.
Okay.
So there's a lot of students that, like, let's say, let's take, for example, my students in Sharjah, University of Sharjah. They finish medical school, and then they want to go into specialization. Now, second to last year or last year, they have an opportunity to do something called an elective.
Mm-hmm.
Some people go abroad, Denmark, whatever. But students that want to go to the US, they do their electives in this time. And because it's like hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, because
Okay.
it counts for them as credit hours in
Right.
their home university if they go to accredited place, of course, not like John Smith Clinic in Louisville, Kentucky, you know. You need U.S. clinical experience as a prerequisite before you apply to the match, which is like the residency program.
Okay.
Right.
So, before you match, you have to do 3 exams. So it's called the USMLE exams. There's USMLE Step 1, Step 2 consists of 2, and then there's Step 3.
Mm-hmm.
recently, step one has been pass or fail.
Okay.
So the pool of students that are applying for the U.S. pathway is more. So it's more competitive now. And program directors in residency programs are focusing more on students that have U.S. clinical or hospital experience.
Right.
So if you're a Saudi student from Al Faisal University, which is #1 medical school in the region now.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, their students, mashallah, like
Wow.
they get into Mayo, Cleveland, top notch.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're a Saudi student or a Jordanian student, whatever, and you want to apply for the match, how are you going to figure out how to do that? Number one. Number two, their university does not give them the correct guidance on how to apply to the match in the US. Number three, there's a lot of scams out there.
Of course.
Yeah.
I had a student, his name is Khalid Al-Haraqat, Jordanian student studying in Istanbul.
Emirates ID number 787.
784 1991 3623. You know they have your birth year, right?
Yeah. I memorized my Emirates ID number.
Okay. He's a cool guy, man, and he told me like I applied to this agency and I paid $5,000
Ouch.
and he went there and the clinic doesn't even exist.
Yikes,
Oh
man.
my God.
You know?
And this is happening literally everywhere, man. You have to do your due diligence before
Yes.
sending any payment.
The more I worked with Phronesis, the more I learned myself, how can I make my students comfortable?
Yeah.
Right.
Every year we were changing. Every day I would say we're changing. Phronesis today is not the same as Phronesis 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm keeping my student needs and desires the central and focal point of my business. So I started learning like what my competitors were doing. And my competitors are not the same because my competitors are agencies. So what they do is they connect a random student with a random doctor in the US. They have no relation to the doctor, no relation to the clinic, no relation to the university. The doctors that my students train with are my business partners.
Okay. So you like screen them, you know everything about them.
They devoted their life teaching medicine, man.
Oh, okay.
These guys are... Do you know, like, there's an Arabic saying, like, هذول من أيام الزمان الحلوين, you know? Like, those are the people from the good old days where people were genuine, you know? These doctors, man, like, I don't know. And they have like a supernatural power. Like we screen students when they apply to our program. And I remember like I was interviewing a student and he was not very confident. He was like stuttering a lot, you know? Like one of the questions I asked my students, what makes you proud of being a future doctor? You know, very smart guy, man. Very smart guy. But his confidence was not up there.
Okay.
So what we do is when we interview a student, we assess the interview, and then whoever they're rotating with, that doctor, I have a meeting with them, and we go through the assessment,
Okay.
and we collectively make a decision if we should accept or reject them into the program.
Okay.
So I was talking to Dr. Abdul Wahab. Abdul Wahab al-Marai is internal medicine doctor. He's a third-generation American, originally Palestinian.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Because he's got such a so people from Michigan have a nasal accent.
Okay.
Have you met Samer? I call him Samer.
Yeah.
So Samer's dad, this is crazy coincidence, right? Is a doctor that works with the doctors that I work with, because he's from Rochester Hills.
Oh, okay. You know him, by the way. He's the guy who was wearing the suit at Abu Dhabi Comedy Fest.
He's so
He
cool.
the waiter in this place, but he is the videographer.
Right.
Yeah,
He's so cool, man.
Right.
Because when he said, "Oh, I grew up in Michigan," I'm like, "Where in Michigan?" He's like, "You're not gonna know."
Mm.
I'm like, "I know Michigan pretty well." And he's like, "West Bloomfield." I'm like, "Oh, Rochester Hills, Oakland County." What? How do you know that place? I'm like, "Do you know Creighton Hospital?" my daddy used to work there, like, you know? So it's crazy.
A small world.
You know, like, that was nuts. Samer has a Michigan accent. It's very nasally. So he says, exactly, you know? So my Dr. Abdul Wahab has that accent, but when he talks Palestinian, it's like the farmer's preoccupation, you know? Like, they speak in a very...
It's like just switches all of a sudden.
Man.
And it's the old school style.
Yeah. So
That's her with all her languages, by the way.
and that's the same for
with
me.
you as well, yeah.
Because when I speak English, I sound like Adam Smith. And then when I speak Arabic, it's very Jordo-Saudi, you know? So when my Arab students go there, they're like, what's going on? You know, you sound like my grandma.
Are you the same person that I spoke to 5 minutes ago?
But that's good because they can connect with them, you know?
Yes.
Because they're Arabs as well. So
Yes.
They get a little bit of like that home.
But even, you know, even I had like a Nigerian student studying in Budapest.
What?
Bro, she's so cool. Dr. Joy.
Wow.
Very proud of her. She actually passed her steps. She graduated. She did internal medicine, primary care with us. She's like, man, like, because I take feedback seriously, you know, because I want to know what our mistakes are, where can areas of improvement.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what I enjoyed about going with Dr. Mary is the tolerance in the clinics.
Okay.
Or amongst the people. And her being African in the United States, I think maybe she felt that a little bit, but she felt safe in our clinics.
Right.
Okay.
So I don't, just because I'm Arab or the majority of my students are Arabs, I don't want people to think that Phronesis is only an Arab thing.
Right. And you only
I want
focus on...
everyone to come, you know?
Yeah. But this is what you said and how you described it. It's more personal what you do. You're not just someone who connects.
Yeah, so we're not an
someone to
agency.
someone. Yeah.
We're not an agency.
Yeah.
And I give any lead, any student that inquires through Instagram, whatever, I give them a block, an hour, and I speak to them.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to ask everything. I don't like students that actually, I hate it. So I had two students, Sulaf and Bandar. They're from Jordan. So Sulaf is at JUST, which is Jordanian University of Science and Technology, and Bandar is at University of Jordan. They applied without contacting me. And I was like, I wish you didn't do that, because I don't like that. I don't want to make my business like a transactional thing.
Don't want it to be just a number.
Or a commercial thing.
Yeah.
Because like we're an educational institution, you know?
So how's the application? It's online that they have to fill out or something?
Yeah,
or...
so it's on our
website. So you
website.
rather have them speak to you, understand A to Z before...
But when I mean A to Z, man, because we help them with everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, let's say like Bandar and Sulaf reached out to me and I contacted them. I'm like, why'd you guys apply? Like we want, and at that time I was in Amman. I'm like, do you guys want to meet like at a cafe or whatever? They're like, yeah, oh my God, you're here, you know? I love when students do that because they're so excited, you know? Like right now I was just in Azerbaijan. I coincidentally like messaged the president of the Azeri Medical Student Association. He's responsible for 8,000 medical students.
Wow.
I just DM'd him. I'm like, hey, I'm in Baku. This is what we do. I would love to invite you for coffee. He said, no, you're coming to our office, you know?
Wow.
They're like, they like to like be hospitable, you know?
Right, okay.
So I sat down with Bandar and Sulaf, and we spoke about like what we offer. So that's what I'm telling you. Like anybody that comes through, you get an hour. And I want to connect with every one of my students, and I want to tell them what we offer, you know? So we offer like internal medicine, interventional cardiology, critical care pulmonology, GI, and then now we have a new set of electives. We have emergency room, ICU. This one's like hardcore. I really want to talk about this one. This one's amazing. We have ophthalmology, the eyes. We have advanced interventional GI. We have neurology, orthopedics, and surgery.
Okay.
Wow.
which are very difficult to find, especially surgery.
Yeah.
So
Your dad must be so proud that you're, you probably did not go into the doctor route, but you still ended up.
But you're still responsible for like
Yeah.
so many. I was just gonna say, like, the moment you're like 40 years from now, when you have a disease, you'll be like, just look at my phone book. Who did I send to this university?
some of my
and then you can just
you
reach
know,
out to them.
If you want to know a good doctor, would you
yeah.
go to him to be like.
I actually always recommend good doctors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, by the way, during Corona, I had a guy called Yazan Hijazin. In
Okay.
English, it's Hagaizin.
Okay.
He's Catholic, Christian, Jordanian from Al-Karak. It's so interesting. So he's like a Bedouin Jordanian,
Okay.
but he's Catholic.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. So he speaks in a Bedouin accent, like Azallah magamak, hala wallah, shlonak, shkhbar.
Wow.
Yeah. Man, I love Jordanian Christians. Wallah, they're so nice. Like it's been a pleasure working with them these last 4 years. So Yazan went to University of Jordan, went to Dr. Mary, and then there was a girl that did an elective. And by the way, at that time, I was the first firm in that field that was doing online electives.
Okay.
So like, because
During COVID.
also, yeah, because also,
Made sense. Yeah.
also I figured out how to do an emergency visa to the U.S. Like, I have some contacts in the U.S. government, State Department, law enforcement, whatever. So I was like, how do you do an emergency visa? And I figured it out. So a lot of Middle Eastern students were like, yo, how'd you, So I sent Yazan on an emergency visa. He met a girl, Hiba Haddadin, while he was doing his elective. And I was the first firm to do online. So we bought this camera from Best Buy, and like you can go live. It has a speaker and a microphone. So the student would be at home and he can talk to the patient and the patient hears them.
Oh.
Then all of the big agencies, man, there are agencies that have like millions of dollars of like VC funding, Then they started copying me. And I was like, I'm just like a small kid from Aramco. Like, you guys are sad. Go copy someone else,
Leave my business alone.
But Yazan met Hiba there. And then later on, I'm like, I'm glad they became friends, And I'm like, I feel like but boundaries, I didn't want to ask. When I was in Amman last month, or in May, I don't know when that was, yeah. I was going through Yazan's Instagram. No, actually, in March, when they declared if people got matched or not, I asked my students, like, hey, man, did you get matched? He's like, yeah, man, Louisiana State University.
Okay.
That's amazing, man. LSU's a great university. Then I asked Hiba, did you get matched? Yeah, I got couples match. And so if you're both applying to the match, you can apply as a couple.
Oh.
And I'm like, where'd you get accepted? LSU. I'm like, I knew it.
Cool.
I'm like, are you and Yazan like? And she's like, yeah, we're engaged.
Oh, that's so cute.
So it's like matchmaker now.
Oh.
You could add that. I should have added that to
the personal touch that you have.
That blew my mind, bro.
Yeah.
And then I met them.
That is.
And
so
like,
cool.
and I was like, wow, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
I actually did an Instagram story and I'm like, the first Phronesis couple.
I love that.
And you're like a proud dad, just like.
Wallah, man, like, yeah. And
We should add it. I should have added it to his introduction.
Yeah,
Matchmaker.
So when they get matched, it means they're gonna go there for residency.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so she got into pediatrics, which is also a competitive program. She went into internal medicine. But yeah, like my students, I want to tell them what we offer.
Yeah.
This is what we offer. We help students in doing. So there is a legality gray zone in this. You cannot fill out the DS-160 for people unless you're an approved travel agency by the U.S. Embassy in that country.
Okay.
Right.
So we don't really touch that, but we look over it to make sure that this information that is relevant about our clinics is inputted correctly in the DS-160.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I do
Just the guidance. Yeah.
And then I do a mock interview with them to prepare them for like what the counselor will say.
Okay.
We also like help them with accommodation. I have like a hotel partner there that give my students a preferential rate, very close to all the clinics and hospitals. I also partnered up with a car rental company there that gives students like $600 a month for a car.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
usually my students come in packs. So I'm like, you two can room together, split that cost. You can all rent the car together.
Wow, so it's like an all-in-one service. You actually
We
tell
do
them to like
everything for
budget,
them.
how to budget everything.
Yeah, we do everything for them. We
Wow.
have an orientation package.
Okay.
This is where you can study for your steps. This has like halal food, you know. This is where you can do this. Planet Fitness is $10 a month. Like, I don't want them to be lost, you know.
Yeah.
I want them that when they get on the plane, they're getting down, they know
Very nice.
exactly where they're
Very
heading.
nice. Especially with the whole cultural shock of like coming from like at least the Middle East part of it.
Mm.
I
Look, I'm
think
like, what am I
that
doing
comes
here?
from him coming here and experiencing culture shock on his own that he doesn't want his students.
Yeah,
It can be
feel the
Kind of a
overwhelming.
crappy feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but alhamdulillah, man, like it's been nice.
That's
Honestly,
good.
it's
That's good.
been really good. I learn a lot from my students, man.
Mm.
I was sitting with a student in a cafe and I was doing my interview with him. His name is Omar Shakka, Jordanian American. And he said, well, you know, Muhammad, you don't know what you don't know. And I'm like, yeah,
That's so true.
I don't know. You never know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Bro, that's deep.
Yeah.
Wallah, if you think about it.
Yes. Yeah.
And this guy's like 22, you know, like, so I learn a lot from them. And when when you work with students, it keeps you young.
Yeah.
I
you
agree
know?
with that.
And you
yeah.
like learn the hip stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gen Z slang.
dude, there's a group. Oh my God, man.
You said something to me. I'm like, what's your ET? And then you're like, okay, cap or something. What did you say in
No
our
cap.
chat? He said something like a Gen Z slang, and I'm like, oh, I'm definitely gonna bring this up on the podcast.
Oh, okay, bet.
Okay, bet.
Ah, yes.
That's not.
You could
that's
have
old,
ended at
though.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Bet.
Cap, no
You know
cap.
what I do
for-
to
for-
Abs a lot just to mess with him? I talk to him in like military terminology. Like, hey man, are you Lima Charlie? You know, like
What's LC?
loud and clear.
Ah.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Okay.
Or like I would be like rendezvousing to LZ T minus 30
But
seconds.
Abs will be the worst person to military
and then he
time at least.
and you know what's funny? Every time I tell him, hey bro, like what, I'm like, I'm Oscar Mike, which means I'm on the move.
Yeah.
Every time, what's Oscar Mike? Then I go to Google Oscar Mike, screenshot it, and send it to him. And then he would be like, Roger, 10, 4, 3, 1, 2, you know, like, yeah. I do that a lot with
Every
Abs.
time.
Yeah.
You need to, man. The guy needs to learn about punctuality.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. You'll
It's
tell him.
getting better. It's getting better. It's getting better.
One
yeah.
time
The Arab in him.
There was this one time we had a show together and I had to call him like, dude, where are you on the way? He's like, dude, I'm still waiting for my Tesla to charge. I'm like, this is the most local thing you could say.
I'm still waiting for Cartier to charge my Tesla with their gold. Yeah, like,
Yeah, that sounds like
sorry, not Cartier, Van Cleef.
He knows his brands.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I wanted to go back and just say the whole conversation about phronesis.
Mm.
You were very passionate about it, and it's so nice to see because it's your company and it's not just for business. Like, you truly care about your students. You really look after them. And I wanted to ask you, like, how do you see your company growing in the next couple of years and what's to come?
That's a very good question. So, the growth that I want to see in Phronesis is in terms of more exposure.
Mhm.
So not a lot of people know about me, and I think we're getting there. I think we're like pretty competitive now, especially if like my competitors are copying me. But I don't want Phronesis to be an MNC, a multinational corporation.
Right.
What I always want Phronesis to be is a bespoke, tailored place where people of specific standard and criteria can attend.
So you're not gonna say yes to literally everyone like it's a.
Oh, we reject people.
Oh, okay.
We reject people.
Okay.
So our criteria is based on 3 things. Academic excellence, which does not mean you need to have a certain GPA. Academic excellence in the terms of how passionate are you
Right.
studying? What are you doing, like in that terms? Neurodiversity, like are you like going out there and doing things outside of your curriculum? And like the medium of instruction, if it's not in English, you should have good English speaking skills because the patients are American. That's all
Right.
you know?
Of course.
So we do have rejections. We do have some students that think coming to our elective is a 1-month holiday. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, we are very friendly and we like to be very helpful. But at the same time, like this is a serious place. Like people that come based on merit and performance.
And then your company's name is at stake as well when it comes
100%.
to all these sort of things, right? So
So like if I ask a student like, what makes you proud of being a future doctor? And they say, I don't know. That's a red flag for me because I usually like organize interviews a week before I interview them. So that's something that you should have made a reflection upon. It's
Yeah.
not a hard question.
Yeah.
I'm proud to be a doctor because I want to give back to my, like, I'm sure you've thought about that
Yeah.
one point in your medical school.
of course, yeah, you wouldn't be doing
But
this.
if you say,
yeah.
I don't know, or like, why do you want to go to the United States? I want to explore the United States. I'm not a travel agency, you know? So we have rejected people before.
What if there's someone who's super blunt and says, "Oh, I would just want to make a lot of money"? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I've had students that had said that before, and then but I still would ask them, okay, there are many occupations around in the workforce where you can make a lot of money. Still, why did you choose medicine?
Okay, okay.
Mm.
You
Okay.
know? So yeah, like so what's coming up for my organization is even by the way, like prices, industry average industry benchmark in terms of what we charge lower than everybody, and we provide more services, like in terms of hands-on and the type of electives.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this because I want to organically grow. I don't want to have fake followers on my IG or have like, I want to organically grow.
You want
know?
people to be knowing you because someone recommended you.
Yes.
Yeah, like word of mouth.
Student.
Yes.
Yes.
Most of our students are referrals.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, I definitely like want a growth in terms of like a bit more outside of the Middle East.
Right.
I've started having students inquiring from Hong Kong, South Korea, Taiwan. That's amazing.
Cool.
Recently, so right now, as we speak, we have 3 students from Beshashir Applied University in Istanbul.
Wow.
1 Algerian guy, 1 Jordanian Palestinian, and 1 Pakistani student. And they all
Nice.
go to BAU. So Turkey's been great in the last year. Poland, Hungary, Poland, Hungary, and I would say Poland and Hungary for now as well. We're getting students as
Okay.
well. So yeah, growth in terms of territory.
Okay.
And I want to, it's not official, Yani, but I want to also have a place where my students can come and do volunteering work. So I started an NGO, still not officially on paper, but it's 98% there. I started an NGO with one of my students. It's called Eventia, which is the Roman Latinized name of Ibn Sina, which was a Muslim philosopher that was huge in medical explorations.
Nice.
And what we wanted to do was, and we got like sponsorship from a pretty big medical company in Jordan to give us medication for free. So we want to go to rural areas, or these places are not refugee camps. Like the Palestinians in Jordan, like the refugee camp was so big that it indulged and adapted within the city.
Okay.
It's not a secluded like, oh, those
Okay.
are where the
It
Palestinians
integrated
are.
itself into the.
Yes. So we will go around to like different rural areas or Palestinian refugee camps, where like twice a week we will have like free doctors day. So you have students that have graduated and medical students there now that will observe the graduate, because only the student that graduated that has a license can perform, but the students can learn. And also they can write that in their resume. I participated in a volunteering thing in yada, yada, yada. I want to do more stuff like that.
Okay.
And this all started through the story of Islam, my student from the Gaza Strip. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that post.
Yes.
Yeah. So is he the student that you're partnering up with for Eventia? Am I saying
No.
right? Okay.
Yeah, that's with Abdullah Zmigna. That's my student. Yeah. No, Islam, bro. That's like, honestly, we can do a whole podcast just about Islam. But Islam was the vice president of IFMSA Gaza. So IFMSA is International Federal Medical Student Association.
Okay.
Every country has an IFMSA.
Okay.
And they have like a president, vice president, yada, yada, yada. So with how it is with Palestine, you have PMSA, which is medical students in the West Bank. Then you have IFMSA Gaza. I got in touch with Islam when that stuff was happening in Sheikh Jarrah. I'm pretty sure you remember that video when that Palestinian lady was like, Jacob, you're in my home. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. One of the first.
Nobody takes it, then I'm going to take it. Yeah. So, yeah, I got in touch with Islam at that time when that was happening. And then, I told him, like, I would love to work with students from Gaza. I got busy, he got busy, whatever. In October, I was in Amman when everything happened. And I'm like, oh, I know somebody from there.
Right.
I'm like, let me check up on him. So I was like, hey, man, like, I hope everything is okay with you. And he's like, I'm in Cairo.
Oh, okay.
So he is so involved in stuff, man. Like, he's involved with UNESCO. He's involved with World Health Organization. So he coincidentally left Gaza October 4 to go to the regional meeting of the World Health Organization.
That's crazy.
And then everything happened and he stayed there. And I was like keeping in touch with him. And at that point, things were getting out of hand, you can say. And I was like, you know what, man? Let's do a live. And I want you to talk about everything. Because like he couldn't go back. And he's like, man, like I just want to hug my friends. I haven't seen them in a while. So we did a live end of October. It wasn't a political talk. It was more of like he was saying his story.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before interviewing Islam, I took an executive decision to say, like, on the live, I announced that we will fully fund him to come to our program for like as long as he wants. So I announced that in the live, and that was crazy because certain people started reaching out to me in order to do it for their side and offering me money.
Wow.
And I didn't accept, of course.
Wow.
Like in terms of donations?
I'm like, no. So you guys decide if you want to keep this or not.
Okay.
So the IDF reached out to me.
Oh, this is the one which
I showed you the email.
Yes.
And they, first of all, if I'm selling my soul to the devil, like, you better give me more money, okay? Like,
it was a lot of money.
$36,000 a month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Per student.
No. Just for me to do whatever I'm doing and to have it for them.
Okay.
Basically, they want me to be a propaganda machine.
Yeah.
And they work a lot.
Oh,
on
by the way, they said we will have a trained operative train you.
Okay.
I remember this. And then
Yeah.
I saw your reply as well was so intense. and
Yeah.
Nice,
So,
I would say.
You just say nice?
Nice. Not nice. Not nice, but slap in the face nice.
Okay.
sort of thing.
the way I replied to them was I tagged them
Right.
to show the world what they sent me.
Yeah.
And then I tagged them in my reply, which is Dear IDF. We're an organization and that believes in justice and equality for all. No, thank you.
There was more to that, but
Yeah.
We'll keep it at no thank you.
Yeah. They weren't happy when I did that.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened post that.
Yeah.
Okay, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Off camera. I wasn't afraid. I don't care, man. You know, I'm done being like a passive person. I will not accept to have my people's neck be stepped on and be okay with it. So there's a certain way to reply where you don't get in trouble or you don't
Like a polite way.
break barriers or boundaries or laws of a certain country. And that's what I would do. You know, I wasn't, well, yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. So I was working with Islam. We were talking every day. And I was like, yellow, start applying for a U.S. visa. So he has a Palestinian Authority passport. Okay. We got him all the documentation. Man, his campus was bombed.
Oh,
It's called
nice.
Al-Azhar Islamic... No, sorry. What am I saying? Al-Azhar Medical College in Gaza.
Okay.
It's the only medical faculty of medicine in Gaza. He can't just email and say, hey, I want this paper to prove I'm a student. But we had... I wanted the U.S. counselor that was interviewing him to know that he's a medical student.
Okay.
Here's the proof. So at that time, there was a UK charity that set up distance learning for medical students in Gaza to continue their education. I got in touch with their chairman, and they were able to give us a proof of enrollment. So it took us a while to get all the documents. I did the mock interview for him when he went to the U.S. Embassy in Cairo.
Yeah. So he was still in Cairo at
Yes.
this point. Okay.
He interviewed, and I remember like his interview was at 8:30 in the morning. So by the time I wake up, I'll know. And then I saw a yellow paper, your visa's approved.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Man, at that moment, it was more valuable than me getting my master's degree or me getting my bachelor's degree or me like, this was the most achieving thing I've ever done in my life. Because anytime I worked anywhere, I never had a boss that directed me the right place or challenged me in the right way or allowed me to execute the potential that I had. Never. I didn't like that. I always felt like I was unheard and unseen in the workplace. And I always like challenge people. Like, I'm not going to accept a marketing campaign just because, I would ask questions. Not a lot of people used to work with me. I like working with me. I wasn't rude. I wasn't, I was not like a hard ass, like, but like, I was a person that would challenge you, not in a negative way, but for you to get better, to be the best version of yourself, and people don't like that. And when you succeed at work in a corporate environment, that reminds people, or in life, this is a new thing I learned. When you succeed, that's a reminder of people's failures. And they will hate on you, Like when Phronesis was doing so well, there were people in my life that were saying, this is nothing, man. What are you doing?
No, but it happens to all of us, right? We cannot change those certain things.
Sure.
I guess in a way,
But that's more fuel for me, man.
That's what I was gonna say. So
Yeah.
some people will use, like some people, like especially me, I'm motivated by jealousy. So like when people are doing better than me and we're in the same field or something like that, then I'm like,
I wouldn't call that jealousy.
okay, I think jealousy might be stretching it a little bit,
You're
but
motivated
by other
by
people's
the
success.
oriented, the result-oriented achievements of people.
Exactly.
And you can do that.
Yes. And it's like, yeah, if you can do it, I'm
Man,
sure I can do
I
it
know
as
this
well.
sounds very cliche. Wallahi, anyone can do anything, man.
Yeah.
Once you master your mind, you're the only person stopping yourself. There's nothing else stopping you.
I agree.
Like my basketball coach told me, the only time when you're not in a position to do what you want to do is when you have a gun pointed to your head. None of us have guns pointed to our heads. So like we should wake up in a way where I feel like you practice gratitude, and through that you learn discipline to always be the best version of yourself. I really wanted to go to Comedy Week, man. Like that was a hard choice for me not to go to Dave Chappelle, Schultz, see my friends do stand up, but I had to sacrifice that because I was disciplined in my vision, in my thing, Remember when I told you I'm not going to go to Comedy Week, I'm working on myself.
That's and like I'm not lately, but this is something that has hit me like in the last few years when people say no to me, or when people say no to something, like I'm offering, hey, you want to get dinner? And they're like, no, sorry, I want to go to the gym, or I want to spend time with my family or something, or I'm reading this new book or something. I understand it now, I'm like, people have their own priorities. I know that like like I know how important it is like to give people their space, really develop themselves. And this is the beautiful thing, like, which Janine and I also have in our marriages, where like we respect each other's time. When she's like, I want to go to the gym between this time
so
and time,
important.
and we're like, yeah, do it. It makes you feel better. You feel good about yourself after this.
That's so important.
I know how to cope up without you. I don't need you. Like, I don't need to see you 24/7 as well.
So autonomy in a relationship is so important. But you cannot have autonomy without a correct partnership.
Yes.
You need to have an understanding, emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature sort of relationship for somebody to be, if they say, hey, babe, I'm going to go shoot some hoops with the guys. And it's not gender specific, or, hey, babe, me and the girls are going to Leto's. I don't know why I chose that. I know, whatever. And it's like, that partner should be happy for them. Like, yeah,
Do
go
your thing.
have fun, Go hang out with your boys, or go have fun seeing your girlfriends. Like, let me know what it's all about when you come back, That's somebody when they're already secure within themselves.
I agree.
Exactly.
But when they're insecure, they try to trap you because they want control, And that control stems from insecurity.
Yeah.
Because they think the only way they can keep you is through loving you by manipulating you to make you feel bad for not spending time with them.
Yeah.
Because they don't think that you want to spend time with them because you love them. Because this word love, man, like, people need to understand this, man. Like, especially with all this pop psychology that's on Instagram, like, honestly, this is bad. Because, like, if the only information that you should seek, I think, is based on 3 foundations. Are you seeking wisdom or knowledge from somebody that has wisdom? Do they specifically know what you're going through? Because I can sit here and talk about something that's so generic, and anybody can be like, oh, that's happening to me, And do they know you? Because everything is a case-by-case situation.
True.
Nobody can come out and say, all women are.
Yeah.
All men are. All relationships are. Because philosophically, that's a logical fallacy, because you're generalizing, which makes that point of view in terms of a debatable topic to be void. You cannot say all or most. You have to have a study, It's so dangerous because people take this information, they're like, oh, that's what's happening to me.
Yeah.
And
then applies a blanket statement to whatever is happening in their
for
life.
sure.
Yeah.
It's so important, like, to Yeah, so I think a big part of it, man, is like people need to know who they are. A lot of people don't know who they are.
Yeah, they're so easily manipulated, and they change like
so easy.
yeah.
You know,
They change like
with
seasons, you know,
marketing,
like
with-
one day I'm doing this, one day I'm doing that, and then they don't have their own
But see,
identity or personality at the end of it, you know. So it's
honestly, man, again, in another point of my life, I used to feel bad for these people. Now I don't. If you are above the age of 25 and you're acting like you're 13, I do not feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
That's what makes a difference between girl, woman, boy, man. You're not a boy anymore. You're not a girl anymore. You need to put on your big girl pants and your big boy pants, and you
listen to this, guys.
and you need to go out and feel the suck. You're not, no one, the Calvary's not coming for you, you know, and no one, and schools don't teach you this, you know what I mean? No one's gonna save you. And if you have the mindset that somebody's gonna save you, that's an incorrect mindset, because you're building your personality on codependency. Why do you need somebody to save you? Save yourself, you know? Nobody's coming for you. And then that's what brings the strong foundation. And a lot of people also get like misguided into like these, I'm not saying motivational speeches are bad, but what are you going to do when the headphones come off and you're in a finals game?
You know, I 100% agree with this. So I had this phase in my life where I was all about motivational talks. I went for a Tony Robbins event.
Nice.
I used to listen to these daily motivations on YouTube every day as like part of my morning routine. But at the end of the day, I never, like, I absorbed everything, but I never acted on it. And at the end of the day, I didn't have that discipline. Like, I would just wake up, have that short burst of motivation, you know, like, today is the day, gonna run 5K, gonna get into deep work, switch my phone off.
You have to know your why. Why are you doing
Exactly.
all of this?
So I used to go for all these events, all these sort of things, and at the end of the day, I'm just like, okay, so yeah, what am I gonna do now with all this information that I have just heard, with all this push that I currently have? Like, like exactly what you said. What is my why?
Yeah.
So I just went there because I was just feeling like in a very low place in my life, you know, like a
But
dead-end job, all of
your soul was yearning for a path.
that.
And
Is yes.
it found itself.
So at least my mind, like consciously, I knew that something had to change.
Yes.
I'm getting, I don't want to say comfortable, but you know, like on autopilot. So like my life is like, okay, I'm like, has it been like 3 years? I'm still in the same place as I was 2 years ago. So you need to have that some sort of wake up call, I would say, and that what is this we spoke about the other day? Your mindfulness, like your mindfulness.
Mindfulness is a
Yeah.
big one.
You should just know your limitations, your capabilities, all those sort of things, and then make
But
decisions.
see, but you only can learn that when you go through the suck.
Yes.
You know, that's the first thing when you go on Paris Island. That's like where the Marine recruits go. The drill instructors say, "Welcome to the suck."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and those guys are furious people, you know. That's the only way you learn, man. So you can pound your chest in front of the mirror. Okay, طيب, ماشي. Cool.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when the headphones come off? Because you're in your mind 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you need to learn how to be up there, you know.
Rewire it for
Sure.
your own benefit.
But also, you know, a big part of it, because a lot of people think I'm weird with this, you know. Like, for example, I don't know if he told you, like this podcast, we deleted it like 4 times maybe.
Yeah, 2. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
3, 4.
We spoke like a long time ago about this. Yeah.
Mid-May.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing, man. Like, for me, like, I don't know, like, okay, so I have a friend of mine, and let's take this example without mentioning names. Like, I have a friend of mine, and, like, his girlfriend needed help with something. I don't know what he's okay or not okay with. So to avoid the drama, I would, like, ask him, like, hey, man, is it cool if we meet in a cafe? Like, I have to respect your boundaries, you know? Because maybe some people are like, no, I don't want you to meet with them. Please give them a call. I don't care, like, cool. At the end of the day, you asked for my help and I gave you the okay, So, like, this mindfulness, it's very hard to find, you know what I mean? And it's not just in relationship stuff, but it's also like, this was a big one growing up. My mom would be like, don't ever open anyone's refrigerator when you go to their house.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Sometimes I'll be thirsty as hell, bro. And I'm like, I want
I'll
water.
just I'll just die of dehydration. It's okay.
Yeah, but anyways, Islam. Yeah. Yeah, man, he got his visa and then he went to the US.
So is he still there right now?
He's still there.
Okay.
He also met his uncle that he never met in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so he did 1 month of primary care, 1 month of emergency room intensive care unit, which was pretty cool because he got to be part of a code blue a few times.
Whoa.
A code blue is when you have respiratory failure
Okay.
and you're dying.
Yeah.
So
Cold blue.
yeah. So he was like telling me like, it's not like the movies where you like run, and he's like, the doctor came and he said, you have to be very calm.
Right.
Because everybody's depending on you.
Yeah, if
to
you're
be calm.
panicking when you moment you come into the room, you're
Yeah.
like, okay.
And
this
he's
is
like,
gonna
by the
work
time
out.
you get there, the patient might not have a chance at life,
Okay.
But it was his first opportunity being in something like this.
Right.
And like, even one of my Syrian students from Turkey is like, I was going to the Cold Blue, and he was like, it was a nice experience because you see the internist coming in, the pulmonologist coming in, the anesthesiologist coming in, but the hospitalist is the one to give orders, and he was working under the hospitalist. So he's like, Adib, put on some gloves and start intubating. And he's like, who, me? He's like, yeah, man, there's no other Adib around here. Put on some gloves. And he was doing artificial breathing is the best way to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
On
Islam's
some oxygen.
Yeah, Islam's been there.
And is the goal for Islam to sort of acquire residency in the States?
I'm pushing him to do so. He's studying for his steps.
Okay.
And he wants to. I'm telling him stay in the U.S. But he's like, I need to go back and like give some exams in Cairo.
Okay.
He hasn't seen his parents since October.
And this is in Gaza.
They got out. So he has a Korean American friend that was studying in Harvard that did this thing in the West Bank, and his sister's also a medical student.
Okay.
They all met and became friends. I became friends with Bami. She's such a sweetheart, man. This girl did a GoFundMe. We did a lot of stuff, and through the GoFundMe, we were able to take their family out of Gaza.
Very good.
Wow.
So I want him to obviously see his mom and dad,
Yeah.
But like we're in contact a lot. Like I wouldn't call him my student. He's like a family member now, to be honest, man. Like, and when he landed in the US, he's like, this is like the movies. Like people are like walking their dogs but I always learn from him. He's like, I've never been in a place where it's so calm. Imagine.
I know, man.
Yeah.
That's sad to hear as well. Yeah.
But it's also a reminder for me, like, man, alhamdulillah, like, I'm so blessed.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. It's a good reminder.
We
for
forget
life.
that sometimes,
Yeah.
We take a lot of things for granted,
Yeah.
especially when we're comfortable in that sense. We're like, this is good. But then on the other side of the world, or like a couple of 100 miles away, something crazy is
Like
happening.
some people are crying because they didn't have almond milk in their latte, and some people are crying because they lost a child. Like this is the world we live in.
Always reminds me of the Kardashian thing. Like, Kim, people are dying when she lost her diamond.
Oh yeah.
And she's crying about her diamond earring.
Yeah.
Yeah. But well, I'm gonna wrap things up. And first, thank you for sharing your
thanks for
stories.
having me.
Like those are amazing stories, and I hope people will be inspired by your stories, and we would love to hear more of that. So hopefully we could get you back in the
I would love
podcast.
to.
Let us know where we can find you. Where are
Where like
social medias, anything that you'd like to
Best
plug?
place is Instagram, at Phronesis Advisory.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the description and on the
There's
video
any
as well.
medical student out there listening.
Yeah.
Make sure to DM him. That's the best way.
Yeah.
And get in touch with Mo so that you know, if
He's
you're
doing
looking-
great things, guys. So
Yeah.
it'll be like a really something that
Thank you.
can make people happy and
very inspiring.
yeah, very
Thank you so
inspiring.
much
I have
for
to
your
say.
time.
Yeah, thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
This is really great, and I loved everything that we spoke about, and
Same.
we hope to hear more
Yeah.
stories. from
Inshallah.
And congratulations on your first podcast, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hopefully it's gonna go up now, so it's gonna
Inshallah.
be
Yeah.
a lot more. Yeah.
We'll see.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah.
And on
Thanks.
that note, thank you. Bye, guys.
That was great.
Mo, those are stories to tell. You know, when you become, I mean, inshallah, in the future, you become a grandfather.